Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final session of day one of the Economic Times Phoenix CXO Summit APAC 2022. And we are delighted to present to you the closing keynote with Datuk Dr. Vinod Sekhar, Chairman and Chief Executive, Petra Group, on the topic Stepping into the Future with Purpose and Resilience. As we've just stepped into a new year, which is still riddled with uncertainty, organizations need to rethink how they operate and why they exist. Will the lessons from the past work for us even now? In this powerful one-on-one conversation, one of Asia's most celebrated industrialists, entrepreneurs, and philanthropists, Datuk Vinod Sekhar, would join us to share his thoughts on how businesses and organizations can build a purpose-driven and resilient culture with sustainability and social commitment as the bedrock. Datuk Vinod Sekhar is the Chairman and Chief Executive of the Petra Group, which is a global conglomerate involved in sustainable industries with one common goal of providing solutions for humanity. Petra Group's businesses range from manufacturing, modular building construction, green rubber technology, rail transit systems, agriculture, media, entertainment, and lifestyle to research and philanthropy. As an advocate for social capitalism, Datuk Vinod believes that business interests and societal concerns should go hand in hand, which acts as the basis of the Petra Group. He believes that enterprises should be run as profitable ventures while doing the right thing for employees, customers, society, and the environment to ensure sustainable wealth creation and equitable income generation for all. On that note, I'd like to welcome Dr. Datuk. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to have you on board.
It's a privilege to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, Datuk Vinod, the world has experienced unprecedented disruption and chaos in recent years, and we're still in the middle of some major structural shifts. So while some companies freeze and fail, others successfully navigate by thriving in the face of the ongoing predicaments. The only difference here is resilience. So according to you, how would you define organizational resilience in a thriving economy, and what are its key tenets?
I would say, firstly, thank you very much for having me on. I'm honored and privileged. But let's look at tenacity and resilience together, because that's what organizations need. The key is we have to play chess, not checkers. We must look multiple steps ahead. And when you do that, you then find your strength to make those moves. Take the little sacrifices you have to make to stay the course. And I think that's the resilience you need. To see through a period of uncertainty is to at least be certain of where you're going, where you intend to go, what you intend to achieve. When you have that purpose, the resilience comes with that. You add a bit of tenacity, then you overcome the uncertainty. And then eventually the clouds clear and you move ahead. But to do all that, you must have your strategy right. Again, it's chess. Too many people play checkers. It's not about this move, immediate move, and immediate move. It's playing the whole board. It's to winning the whole board. And in that process, you might sacrifice a few things, a few pieces. But at the end of the day, you want to get the king on the other side. And I think that's what's required. And I don't think any of us in the last 50 years has been through what we've all been through in the last 2 years. It's just never happened before. So the uncertainty is global and it's sizable. We just simply have to accept that this is happening. It's going to affect all of us, but it doesn't change our purpose. It doesn't change what we want to achieve. It just means there are going to be a few roadblocks, a few hurdles in front of us. And we have to just drive through it. Now, the issue is how you drive through it. And this is where social capitalism comes into play, or my belief comes into play, which is sustainable wealth creation. When you look at it from that perspective of true capitalism, because that's what true capitalism is. I'm a capitalist. How do I make money? I sell you a product, or I sell someone else a service. How do I make more money? I find more of you. But here's the trick, right? I need to then have people rise into the middle class. I need people out of poverty and into the middle class because I want your money, but I need you to have it before I can take it from you, right? So it's in my interest to play a role into lifting people up, helping people out of economic situations and move them up, that like the wealth lines. And sustainable wealth creation is key to that. So during this pandemic, during this period, it's an opportunity for companies like ours who are strong enough to sustain, to weather, as you say, to have the resilience, to then play a key role in lifting people up, of maintaining them, and allowing them to survive. Because what I'm doing is I'm making sure my market survives, if not grows. Because we know we'll get over this. That's a certainty, all right? That's an absolute certainty. And that's where the resilience and tenacity comes. There's no question we'll get out of this. Now, the issue is how long? When will we get out of this? But we will. Now, that's going to happen, so you just keep going, but don't let your market die along with it. It's no point you surviving and coming out of the other end if the market you depend on has gone and it's going to take a decade to lift up again. It's like that car, right? You have this car and you suddenly realize it's out of oil, it's out of petroleum. You can't go more than a couple of feet with it. It's just not able to. And the petrol tank hasn't arrived. Now, you can sit there and do nothing and let the engine just die, right? Because there's no petroleum, there's no oil. It's just going to die. And then eventually the engine just breaks. And finally, when the petroleum arrives and the oil arrives, it's too late. The engine's gone. You've got to rebuild a brand new engine. And how long is that going to take? How effective is it going to be? But if we just put in a little bit of oil, a little bit of petroleum, just to keep the engine going, not too much, just let it run. Find anything you can just to maintain the engine. The moment the petroleum arrives, the moment the oil arrives, we can take off. And I believe that's what we all must do. Do our best to maintain what we can, to keep it going, knowing for certain we will get out of it. And companies like ours and many others that are blessed enough to have the resilience, the finances to keep moving and take the opportunities that arrive from the pandemic, also have the responsibility to help maintain our market. And our market is society. Our market are people that live within us and around us. And so that's the role we have to play as we move forward. And quite honestly, that is what the resilience is for. And companies need to have the tenacity to see it through.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Vinod. That's such an inspirational thought to start this conversation with. I think, firstly, I love the optimism that you said that this will pass. This will certainly pass. There's no doubt about that. Secondly, yes, we need to think many steps ahead of where we are right now. We can't just think of the next steps. And thirdly, how do you take people along in your journey? When you are struggling yourself to fight the battles, how are you helping others to, and uplifting them so that everybody moves, passes through this kind of an uncertain phase together? And I think the end of it all will be, I think, welfare for all, as you said, and it's a very beautiful thought. I really hope all business leaders and everyone listening here understands the importance and criticality of uplifting others along with your own self and having the right purpose and intent to do so. So thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. So Datuk Vinod, you did tell us a lot about what resilience and tenacity and how important they are. According to you, what should be some top priorities for leaders when it comes to developing business resilience? You did point out about how it's about keeping the market alive. Any other thoughts around that?
Well, I mean, leadership at the end of the day is key. You have to inspire. You have to motivate. That's what leadership is. Leadership isn't about huddling behind the desk or hiding yourself from the world. At times like this, leadership is about standing up and being counted, right? It's being seen and saying what needs to be said to give people the motivation and inspiration to keep fighting, to keep standing. Right? And right now, that's what people need, leadership. Whether it's political, whether it's economic, it's the same thing. They need leadership. They need to look up and say, I'm going to follow. I know the direction. I believe we're going to be okay. I believe I can stand. And that is key to almost everything. Leadership means everything at times like this. And that's what CEOs and company heads and department heads, right down to senior managers, with anybody that has someone else reporting to them, anybody, this is what they need to do. From the chairman and CEO, right down to the chief accounts clerk, right down to the head of the security, or the people in charge of a group of drivers. We need inspiration all across the line. And it comes with humility as well. Because that's what touches people. That's what inspires them. You can't go there and talk a lot of, and just talk, and then just have no connection to people. Because inspiration comes when they feel a connection, that they believe you in what you're saying. They believe that you understand what they're going through and their fears. And that comes with humility. And a lot of CEOs don't understand that. I'm not saying that you cannot show that, look, I'm fine. I'm going to keep driving my Rolls Royce or my sports cars, or it's not that. Because, if you worked hard, you earn those points, you go ahead and do it. But it's to make sure that humility, that you've touched them where they understand, they accept that you understand what they're going through and the fears they have inside. That connection is key. And that's what I would ask all CEOs, all senior managers to do, is find that connection, and inspire, motivate. Because if you don't believe it, they can't believe it, right? And so it's that is what I believe is required now, more than ever. It's that sort of leadership. And again, you said earlier, I'm saying that these hard times will pass. I believe that 150%. It's a fact. It will pass. And I know it's just difficult for many people who are looking there and sitting there and saying, oh, I'm on half pay. I can hardly keep ends meet, or I'm out of a job, or my company's just unable to carry on. I have to shut down. My investments have gone. And it's tragic. I've seen these stories. I've seen them up front. Our foundation has been involved in trying to help in any way they can in many areas. But what I believe people need now, and this is where governments must come in, is that, how do I put it? It's amazing what the human spirit can do if it's inspired enough, right? And I know it sounds a bit cliche or a bit silly for a CEO of a multinational to be saying things, like this, but I actually mean it. If you can give people that little bit of extra energy to keep going, that little bit more, you change a lot of things. And I've spoken to the government as well here, and many areas where government must learn how to provide the help. That's where businesses and government must come together, because no organization, no political organization, no government really knows how to help small traders, small businessmen. They don't understand the problem. They say, no, apply for this money, you'll get it eventually. But eventually it doesn't work. They're dead by the time the money's available. And this is a global story. It's about all governments. It's how it works. The bureaucracy works in a certain way. But we need to change those things of how to provide support. As I said, it's a little support just to keep going. It goes with that inspiration. That combination works. So right now, I would say, yes, inspiring leadership is what's required, but humble, inspiring leadership, because that human connection is key.
I think that, Vinod, that's so beautifully put. If I can share with you, we've begun this day with a very inspirational keynote session where our speaker also spoke about how it is time for transformation leaders to come to the forefront, be authentic, be empathetic. And today, and right now we're at the closing keynote, and we're hearing the same stories, how important it is for, leaders to become more inspirational from leading from the front, for becoming more human, connecting more with people. And as you said, just a little bit more can actually help people go a long, long way. So that's a beautiful thought. I think that's how most businesses are realizing this is the way forward. Most leaders have come out as heroes, in fact, in this times of crisis. So I think that's a great lesson and a great advice. So thank you for sharing that. Now coming to a little bit on the role of technology and the kind of accelerated pace we've seen, in the adoption of technology in the past 2 years. So, in your experience, what kind of a digital infrastructure befits a fast-paced, agile, and diverse business landscape? Any top digital trends that you can point out, and how can this help in creating purpose-driven cultures?
Well, we're in the fourth industrial revolution, right? That's what everyone talks about. Heading into the fifth.
Yes.
I'm a very simple man. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I mean, it's an evolution of business, an evolution of technology it's evolution of humanity as we move forward. There are negative impacts, there are positive impacts, but overall, these evolutions are things we cannot ignore and we can't do anything about. We in Petra have gone head on. We have an entire division called Petra Digital. And not only are we developing technology for our businesses, we're ensuring that every business in the group uses technology. We're developing apps for each of the companies to use. Now, why? Because we need to be ready as we move forward. This is where the world is going. This is where AI is taking us. And all companies, whether we like it or not, have to be ready for this. And it's not a question of I'll do it when I absolutely need to. That's stupid. Okay, it's coming. When it's coming, you have to do it. And for you to sit there and not address it, is meaningless. It's dumb, right? And I believe that all companies, doesn't matter in what industry, there is no industry that is not impacted by this digital revolution, right? None. We all have to be ready for it. On Petra's side, each and every one of our companies are working with Petra Digital to ensure the apps are created for their use. The programs and apps are created for them to link to the marketplace, to their customers and the customer base. And so, I'm quite confident of where we are and where we're going. And along the way, we're building up we're going to announce some exciting technology related to our businesses that we're going to launch. So I hope that answers your question. That's what we have to be ready for: digitalization, yes. And the evolution of business in this era is unstoppable.
Yes, and the kind of digital transformation we've seen and how organizations have adapted themselves to this change overnight, I think that has also been very exemplary in the past 2 years. Just adding on to the answer that you give, at Petra Group too, you must have moved into remote working environments and hybrid working environments. How about driving the team culture, making it more purpose-driven in such
I'm a bit old-fashioned.
Okay.
Right? I'm not one of these work-from-home type of people. Mm-hmm. I believe that it's important to be ready for that, because as this pandemic has shown, mm-hmm. if we're not ready for that, we're screwed. We have to be ready for that, right? Because there are situations that will force it. And I think technology and everything we've seen, the emergence from Zoom to everything else, and the use, the automation in the office, mechanization in the office, that's all helped us deal with it. But I think the face time, the people to people, the actual physical proximity is key to the growth of a company and the growth of a company's culture. And for example, in Petra Group, we have done everything we can to ensure safety, followed every protocol. For those that need to work from home during these times. But as things improved, and we were the first to push all our employees to be vaccinated, double vaccinated, and even for their booster jabs. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I can be blunt about vaccination. Am I allowed to be blunt about vaccination? Yeah, I think anti-vaxxers are stupid. So, and they put a lot of people at risk. And so for me, someone that refused to vaccinated, I'm quite happy for them to stay home and not mix with the public. That's fine, it's their choice, but there's no reason to put everyone else at risk. And that's my view. And some people might say it's the wrong perception to have. But I'd rather put my team, not put my team at risk. But that face-to-face is what builds the work culture, the team culture. We're a family here.
Yes.
We're over 1,100 people globally, but we believe that we've created a family that understands how our culture operates and works, that has a belief in our motto of social capitalism, that actually believes what we say. Because when we say solution for humanity, it's not a throwaway line.
No.
We believe in what we say. We try to do it. We don't always get it right. I don't always get it right. I screw up quite a lot, but I will always try. And I think that's key. So yes, we've been ready for the work from home style, because of the inability to fly globally, to do the meetings, I'd like to do in India, for example. As much as I'd like to fly to India, now there are barriers for me to fly to India. The fact I have to quarantine there, and I have to quarantine when I come back to Malaysia, and all that sort of thing. So the technology that allows us to do video conferencing has helped a lot. But to keep the work culture, to keep the team going, I think the face-to-face is critical. The fact that my people must see me walk into the office, engaging everyone in the same sense, my managers, etc., and everyone down the line, and getting everyone together for meetings, the ability to call someone in to fix problems. I think that's just important. And I think society needs that. And don't forget, a lot of other businesses rely on people coming to work. As we can't get too excited about this. Oh no, people are allowed to work from home. That's fine. They can work from home because people like to be solitary and all that. It's fine. I believe the work from home is because there is no option. That should be the only case for working from home. It's forced on. There's no other option. Otherwise, they should be at work, because it's not just them. It's the confectionery shop downstairs. It's the news agent downstairs. It's the food trucks. It's the lunch stalls that are open. If people don't come to work, they all die. So the impact is quite serious. So we have to look at it from that perspective, holistically. And people cannot solve problems just with a narrow lenses on. You need a holistic view, because the impact on society at large is key.
Absolutely. That's again a great thought, Datuk Vinod. Yes, I do agree that at the end, face-to-face interaction, those human connections matter more than anything that technology can take over. And we hope that we come back to that mode. We come back to offices running very fluidly going forward. Flexibility is obviously something that people will look forward to, but how do you keep people connected and together will also be a key enabler there. So thank you for sharing that. Since we are talking a lot about social impact here, social commitment from leaders, and as organizations adopt the best tools and practices to steer ahead in times of uncertainty, there's a heightened need for leaders to leave a positive social imprint. And you've been mentioning that on, all through your conversation so far. How have organizations and leaders worked towards establishing and strengthening their social commitments in the past 2 years? And what is the way forward? So can you give us some, case study stories there?
That's the one positive thing, you'd want to call it positive. And if you want to look at the only positive, actually not the only, but this, the key positive thing that's happened in this pandemic is it's shown our weaknesses in society,
yes,
in our structures. It's given us an opportunity to pivot, to make a shift to what actually is required. And for me, I was happy to see that now we can show social capitalism,
yes,
how we can actually work. And we've done that. In Petra, we've been responsible for over 1 million people getting food in the last 2 years. People that could not afford. I mean, the situation has been dire. People that have not been out of jobs, foreign workers who are on a daily wage, suddenly having no money at all with a family and not eating for 2 days or 3 days, trying to find a way of surviving. The problems have been real. And then companies like us come forward and maintain them, ensure they have at least the basic food requirements, to be able to cook and feed their families going forward. We came and delivered a mobile hospital and gave it to our armed forces, a fully loaded mobile hospital with an X-ray system, with everything inside it, so that the armed forces could support the people. Apart from going to their different bases, they can stop and help in the rural heartland, whether it's for vaccination, whether it's for primary care, during this very, very, very historic times in terms of what our country's gone through. And it's given us an opportunity to go past CSR. I mean, to me, CSR is nonsensical. It's wrong, because it just allows people to tick a box. Oh, I've left 1,000 saplings in that forest over there. I've done my bit. That's it. I've allowed 2 of my staff to go and work in the zoo. I've done my bit. I think the key is to ensure societal growth and economic growth are put together. The two cannot be separated. Economic leaders can no longer step away and say, I am not involved in societal growth. I'm not involved in societal development. I am not responsible for finding solutions for our community's problems. That's what I pay taxes for. I think that's unacceptable. We are involved. We make money off the community. We make money off society. Of course we're involved. We have to be involved. And we have to be involved in finding solutions. And we're the smartest people in the room. You must understand, that's what we believe. We're businessmen. We can do almost anything. We save companies, we spin companies, we take companies from the brink of collapse and rebuild them successfully. It's like having a dying duck. We have the best accountants that will fix the arteries and veins and bones of the duck and pump new blood through. We have the best lawyers that look at the duck and say, wow, this duck is no longer dying, it's healthy and well. And then we have the best PR people around that will now present this duck as this amazing duck. Not only is it healthy and well, it's laying golden eggs. Now, imagine if you could take a small percentage of that ability, of that ingenuity, and used it to find a solution for a societal problem. Just take a small amount of that and just refocused it on fixing a societal problem. Imagine what's possible. And so I think we have to go past CSR into making sure that this is part and parcel of the lifeblood of a company. We're not trying to tick a box. This is what we are. We don't need to tick a box because this is what we do, every employee. And I've always told my team, do something. I just spoke to them again at our Christmas lunch, and I made it very clear. It's, everyone should do something. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much you spend. If it's $50, it's $50. If you don't have the money, you have time. You have 1 week, 1 day a week that you have not doing anything. But your neighbor, you see your neighbor, and that your neighbor's child has a problem with English, and they've got exams coming, and you can help them by giving that 1 hour and helping him with his English, so that he can do well in class and he goes further. Or with his maths. It doesn't matter what, but give your time, your money, it doesn't matter what, but everyone does something. Now imagine how the world changes if everyone actually did something. And I think that's the key. It's not just talk. It's just going and do something. It doesn't matter what it is. Just do it. And if everyone understood that, this world transforms. And this pandemic has given us that opportunity to do something. It's right in front of us. There are a lot of people that need help, and all we have to do is something. And every little thing matters. And I believe that's what people are doing. I believe that's why you see a lot of heroes now, just among the people. The politicians have failed us. The politicians are learning from the people now about leadership. And that's what they need to look to. Certainly in my country, the politicians have failed. But the people haven't. The people have risen. The people have taken care of themselves. The people have found ways. The businessmen, the professionals,
yes,
the doctors, the engineers, they've all got involved. And everyone is doing something to make a difference. And that's inspiring. But I think that's the message that we have to get out there.
Yes.
We no longer need box ticking exercises. We just need to make this now part and parcel of how a company operates and how people operate in the company.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that this pandemic has shown that that's where we must go now.
Yes.
And that's how companies must evolve.
Yes. And I so agree. I think the pandemic did show us that way forward, that humanity above all. I think, as you said, many people stepped up, leaders stepped up, different, working professionals stepped. Everybody was there to help each other. We've seen those tough times pass by where everybody was calling up, asking for help for somebody they know. So I think that kind of an environment that got built, that kind of a social commitment that we saw from people, that wasn't forced upon them. That was very natural. So it's quite natural that people want to do something like this. And if leaders can instill that kind of an attitude in their people, if organizations can make it a way of life, as you said, not to take in the box activity, the future of businesses will be beautiful. It'll be inspirational for everyone. So great thoughts there. Thank you so much, Datuk Vinod. Moving on to our final question for today. The evolving business climate, as you see, is presenting several day-to-day structural shifts in organizations. So what, according to you, are some of the best change management practices, and what helps instill purpose in an organization and binds the workforce together while we are continents apart?
Well, I mean, I think if you take all the things I've said before and we put it in this one question, that's the answer. I mean, we've had to learn to communicate better.
Yes.
It's something that's been forced on us now. This pandemic, what was easier before has become very difficult, and we've had to now learn how to communicate via Zoom, via phone by messages, by email. Emails have become critical, so therefore the form of the email, what you write, how you write it now matters, because that's the only engagement you can have. Previously, you always thought, oh well, I'm going to see the person now. Quick note down the email, I'll just send it and I'll talk to them later. I'm going to see them in a couple of weeks, but that's gone now, for this period. So a lot of people don't realize this, but that ability to communicate has become key.
Yes.
And how you communicate, because that then again brings inspiration, brings motivation, brings hope, and you need that, right? In these times, I need to ensure that my team, who look at what's going on around the world and they're worried, is the boss going to shut down this division? We're not going to make any money. Our restaurants are closed. We've been closed for the last 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Will we still get paid, or is he going to fire us all? Because there's no business. And this is that communication to them, to tell them, no, we're not walking away.
Yes.
We're not letting go. You're all fine. We're sticking with you, and motivating them to stay on and be strong. As we keep everyone maintained. We do what we have to. My father always taught me, you make your decisions with your head, but you apply them with your heart. And that's helped a lot, even with the tough decisions. But you apply with the heart. You communicate with your heart. And as a business, I talk about long-term thinking, about playing chess. It's helped us. We've grown as a company during this pandemic by deciding that I know we're coming out of this. I know the moves I have to make, and we will get to checkmate eventually. So let's double down. And we went and bought into the food and beverage industry. We expanded our restaurant. I mean, everyone thought I was mad. What is he doing? Buying so many restaurants and food outlets when it's a lockdown. Everything is shut. Why is he suddenly buying hotels? He's invested in a hotel chain. There's no tourism, there's no flights, Now, as things have opened up a little, now they're going, wow, that's ingenious, because our food and beverage outlets are thriving. They're thriving like never before. Our hotels are full with, the local economy opening up and local tourism being allowed. So for me, thinking that way has helped and providing motivation to everyone to keep looking forward. And doing that has given everyone a sense of purpose and hope. Because, hey, he believes it. And if he believes it, I trust him, I'm following him. And that gives everyone else a sense of purpose and hope. And it spreads out throughout our group. It might be, they might look at it as being the restaurant chain and the hotels, but that that spark of hope goes across board everywhere and impacts others as well when they look at it, because it lifts them up, saying, look, they're opening and doing well. And so I think that's what we've done during this period. And you know what? I believe in doing the right thing, in doing what we've done, that we've been blessed with success. We've invested. We've taken a chance, right? We've invested in people. We've invested in their strength. In my belief that when this opens, they're going to drive our profits even higher. Right? And let's be very clear. I'm a capitalist. I want to make money, because I can only do all the good in the world and make a difference in the world with the ability of cash and profit. But it's meaningless unless I lift people around us, because if I don't make it, as I said before, a sustainable way of making money, a sustainable wealth creation, then I will just cannibalize my own market and everything implodes. So as a businessman, it's in my interest to ensure things move forward. And I think the proof is in the pudding, right? Well, I've baked the pudding and I've let people taste it. And I think we've come out of it right, because we went ahead and we invested in people. We kept people employed. We maintained businesses because in our belief that, we will open up. We made a lot of money before. We know we'll make a lot of money later. So how can we suddenly say, okay, fine, fire everyone because we're having a bad year? No, we'll use the profits we made from them with their help, with the profits made last year, and we'll spend it on this year, which is not such a good time. Knowing full well, it'll all open up and we'll make money again, much more. And I think that's the kind of thinking we need. Whether you call it chess and not checkers, long-term strategy, but that's what business must be. It's not about the next 1 month or 6 months.
Yes.
And certainly, people are, that's the problem with public companies. They look at the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter results and their share prices. That's a different conversation. And the way we value companies have to shift from where we value profit beyond cash. Because I believe, a small portion of profit used to enhance a community and support a community is far more valuable and should be counted as profit.
Yes.
Because if I've made a community stronger and lifted them up, I've suddenly enhanced the value of the market. Therefore, I enhance the value of my company because I've got a bigger market to sell products to. So all these things, I suppose these are big paradigm shifts we have to eventually make.
Yes.
In terms of these things. But I believe we will get there. We will get there.
Yes, great. Thank you so much. I think what I hear from this is the one biggest key takeaway from me is that, think from your head and apply it from your heart. I think that's very important. As you said, companies, you have been a great example of thinking ahead of the times, actually. So you saw what is coming much further and you started working on it right now. So I think the leaders who are listening to this conversation today, that's quite a big lesson, that you have to stop thinking how you manage situations and salvage situations right now, but think ahead of your times and see how can you make things better. And obviously uplift people along with you. The focus on people has to be very, very important. So on that note, thank you so much, Dr. Datuk. That was such an inspirational conversation. So much to learn from you. I mean, such great insights. So thank you for learning, taking us through this and learning about why purpose, resilience, tenacity, as you said, social commitment, inspiring people, bringing, creating hope for your people, uplifting everybody around you is so critical for organizations and business leaders as they reinvent themselves and prepare for a more resilient and sustainable future. So thank you for joining us for this conversation. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And on that note, thank you everybody else for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed being with us and experiencing the many sessions all through the day. Do join us for the closing note of this summit coming up next. See you all there. Take care and thank you.